What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Now, this is a video I had been meaning to make for quite a while, but I'm just now kind of finding the time to do it. In front of you, we can see my 2019 Mac Pro. Now, I bought this computer about 2 years ago. It's kind of a white lie because we're about 3 weeks short of actually when I bought it 2 years ago. I purchased this on May 13th, 2020, but you know what? It's close enough. I felt like making the video, so here we are. Today, basically, I'm going to be giving you guys kind of the 2-year update on this computer because I haven't really made any videos about it ever since then. I've just been using it as my primary computer ever since. So now I would like to tell you guys all about it and how it's been doing. So as you can see, here it is. I have it on this nice rollable IKEA thing, so it's easy to film, but I purchased this, like I said, on May of 2020. It is the most expensive computer I have ever bought in my life and probably will hold that record for the rest of it. But I I sold my 16-inch MacBook Pro for it, which paid for about half of the cost of this computer. And, I decided to get it because why not? This remains one of the only, modular, upgradable, and standard Apple computers to ever been made. And of course the previous Mac Pro that came before this was a massive disappointment. So when this thing came out, I was like, wow, that is pretty freaking sweet. So anyhow, here it is. It has been sitting over there in the corner of my room pretty much ever since. Let me go ahead and take a little tour around the computer. I'll take it off the tripod here. So as you can see, there it is. Of course, like I said, this is a desktop computer that's been sitting in my house, so it hasn't sustained any damage whatsoever. So of course, going around it here, you can see everything is still the same. We've got our power switch and 2 Thunderbolt ports up here. We got the latch to get in the machine. Of course, we still have that lattice pattern on the front and rear for ventilation, which is nice. And yeah, I absolutely love the design of this computer, and that's really the thing that drew me to it, and kind of the reason I bought it, because man, this design, the design of this computer is just really, really sweet. So with that said, here's a quick tour of the outside. There's not really a ton more that I can say about it that I didn't say back in my review. But back here you can see I've added a couple of expansion cards, which we will talk about once I pull the cover off. But other than that, everything is pretty much the same. So I guess without further ado, I will go ahead and pull the cover off the machine so we can take a look in there. So taking the cover off here, you can see we are looking at the internals of the machine now. And as you may be able to notice, there's quite a bit of dust buildup on the front fans here. But, that's just kind of how it is. But, wow, yeah, that's actually quite a bit of dust. So that is about, I want to say at least a year of dust. I did blow this thing out like a while ago, but I'm pretty sure it was at least a year ago. So there is some dust buildup in there. The case doesn't have a ton of, filtration, I guess, for the dust. It's just kind of, it's a very open design, and there's a lot of airflow that goes through there. But I'll go ahead and point the Mac Pro towards the camera here. I'll actually go just a little bit more there so we can take a look at the internals now. Of course, this is a pretty base model Mac Pro. I was not made of money at the time of purchasing this thing, so it's basically just the basic 8-core model, but with a couple of upgrades. When I bought it, it was just the 8-core Xeon W3223, still have that in there, not a big deal. And then, everything was base pretty much. I had 32 gigabytes of RAM, the Radeon Pro 580X graphics card, which was kind of a laughable card for such a expensive computer at the time. But I ended up purchasing a couple of extra RAM sticks to bump it to 48 gigabytes, and really the only reason I did that is to take advantage of the 6-channel memory controller in the Xeon, because it only had 4 sticks, being that it had 32 gigabytes. So that was just kind of a pointless, why not upgrade? The RAM was cheap. So I did that. And then the other thing I also did not long after was I upgraded that aging GPU with a Radeon Pro W5700X, which of course is the workstation variant of the Radeon Pro, or the Radeon 5700 XT graphics card, which is pretty powerful. So I was pretty happy with that upgrade. And then if we look up here, those 2 cards I added, which you may have noticed in the previous clip, was just a 4-port USB 3.1 card, and then down there you might be able to see we have an OWC Excelsior PCI Express SSD card. And so there is a, I believe, I can't even remember the capacity. I think it's half a terabyte Samsung 980 EVO SSD in there, and that has a Windows install on it, which I believe we can take a look at as well when I boot the computer up. But other than that, no real other changes inside the machine. It's been doing its job very well. And we'll have a conversation a little bit later about the architecture of this, given that we're living in an Apple Silicon world of Macs now. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and throw the case back on, and then I'll plug the computer back into my setup over there, and we will take it from there. Alright, she is back in her normal setup, so I'll go ahead and turn it on. We'll watch it boot up. I don't know if I've actually made a video about this, but I did get some new monitors, these nice 165 Hz, 27-inch, 1440p Dell Ultra Sharp monitors here. Or actually, they're Dell gaming monitors, really, but they are very, very nice. And a nice upgrade over my previous ones. There you go. As you can see, she's booted up. I'm going to go ahead and scoot the camera closer to the screen so we can take a look at stuff. And then, hold on, I'm going to cut for a little bit here. Alright, now that all my personal information is off the screen, let's go ahead and take a look at the specs again. So we are running Monterey. I believe we are on the latest version there. Let me go ahead and zoom in real quick. This high resolution is really something here. But like we said, we have the 3.5 gigahertz 8-core Intel Xeon, 48 gigs of RAM, and the W5700X. And then if we go over here, let's see, we have the 1 terabyte RAID 0 array for the Mac drive, of course. And then, we have a 1 terabyte Samsung SSD for Windows in Boot Camp. I'm not really going to show you guys that because it's literally just a clean Windows install. Really, all I use it for is playing games for like the 3 times a year that I do that. But other than that, we can go ahead and go over to our PCI cards, and then you can see that our stuff comes up. So we have the Mac Pro I/O card. We've got the USB card there. I'll go ahead and zoom in on that real quick. We've got the USB card there, and then we have the NVMe SSD card from OWC, and of course the GPU. And then it's pretty cool how it gives you kind of like the pool allocation for the 2 data buses, I believe, for the PCI. So that's kind of neat. You're not going to see this on any other Mac, of course. So there you have it. I probably explained that really poorly, but you know, it is what it is. But other than that, things been doing great. I use it for everything. I am really not a professional user. I just use this as my home desktop computer, which is probably going to upset some people, but you know, it is what it is. I pretty much just edit videos with it. That's like the most intensive thing I'm doing with it. Otherwise, it's just basic computer use. But you know what? It makes me happy. I like this thing, so that's how I chose to spend my money. It is hooked up to a UPS. I don't know if I mentioned that. You can't really see it, but we have power outages quite a bit around here. So I do have a UPS running the whole setup, so that is kind of nice. Of course, with the laptop, I didn't have to do that, but being that it's a desktop, it's definitely necessary. And really, I just want to close out the video with a discussion about, like, who should buy this computer. Because really, honestly, in 2022, right now, as much as I love this Mac Pro for, you know, the reasons I have stated in my review and earlier in this video, I really don't believe that anyone that's normal should spend money on this computer, because we are living in the Apple Silicon world now, and even, I believe, the 8-core Apple M1 is more powerful than the CPU in this computer. So that is a bit laughable for the amount of money that I spent on it only 2 years ago. But you know what? It still meets my needs, so that's good enough. And yeah, pretty much if you really are not a computer person, or unless you really value like expandability and upgradability, or you need to run Windows for some reason, you're much better off buying an Apple Silicon Mac at this point in time. Now, I am hearing they're going to come out with an Apple Silicon Mac Pro by the end of this year, but we'll see how that goes. But my prediction is it's going to be quite a bit more powerful than this thing. And, it's just kind of the way that it is. Of course, when I bought it, I really wasn't aware that they were going to be making that kind of switch and all of the benefits that come with it. But really, like I said, the CPU in this thing is essentially identical to like a Core i9 9900. So it's not like underpowered or anything, but compared to Apple Silicon, it is quite a ways behind. But other than that, I like it. I'm happy I bought it. Still don't regret my purchase, really. This thing is awesome. And yeah, that's pretty much my little 2-year update on this Mac Pro. I intend to use it for quite a bit longer, of course. I spent a lot of money on it, so I'm not really planning on replacing it for home use. Of course, I have a 14-inch MacBook Pro I use for mobile use, and that thing is really nice. But this is my home computer, and it does the job. So with that said, thank you guys for watching this rather long-winded video on my Mac Pro, and I'll see y'all in the next one.